What's going on, everyone? This is Dwayne here with ifeelyathepodcast, and welcome to the first episode of the second season. And today's special guest is Reiki Master Allison. Now, Reiki Master Allison is a spiritual empowerment coach for women over 40 years of age. She helps them to embody their calling as light workers, spiritual coaches, intuitives, energy healers, and creators. She empowers them to stop hiding in plain sight, to stop playing small, and to embrace their most authentic selves by offering them Reiki training, certifications, spiritual guidance, Reikipreneur skills, and confidence building strategies. So today, I bring to you Reiki Master Allison. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent. I'm excellent. Can't complain. Besides complaining, ain't gonna do anything anyway.
Not a thing.
so, uh, and first of all, I'd like to say thank you for accepting I guess my uh agreeing to come on to the podcast or whatever. This is the first episode of the second season. And Allison, I've known you for what thank you. Allison, I've known you for it's been a while. It's been some years, from back in the days. We used to work together at State Farm or whatever. And since
Hmm.
then, we've all branched off and doing our own thing. And I've noticed that for the at least past 5 6 years, you have taken or gone on I guess a spiritual journey yourself, and you've turned that into entrepreneurship. And if you could just e- explain to the audience how you got into Reiki and exactly what is Reiki, and we can go from there.
Okay, be glad to. Okay, Reiki, first, let me explain. Reiki is Japanese
Hmm.
and it's the combination of two words. So you have Rei and then you have Ki. When you put them
Hmm.
together, they basically mean the universal life force energy.
Okay.
So, as far as my Reiki story is concerned, I was going on my own spiritual journey
Hmm.
and I was beginning to I started this program, a coaching program, because I knew I was going to be a coach, but I just didn't know really to the extent. So I went in and I got enrolled into this particular program to get spiritual coaching. And the woman who led this made mention of Reiki. Now I had never heard of Reiki. I was
Right.
like, okay, that's an interesting word.
Right.
And so, she was talking about it, and then a couple of the women who are also in the program were also like Reiki practitioners. So the word just kept coming up. And
Hmm.
since I had never heard of it and nobody else in the group was saying nothing, I was like, well, I don't want to be that girl that don't know what this is because everybody else seems to know what it is.
Right.
So kind of let that go. And then the next time she brought it up, she started talking about an experience she had when her sister was a Reiki practitioner, gave her Reiki.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, so this sounds pretty cool, but I just don't know what it is. So
Right.
finally, I saw the word on Facebook because I didn't even know how to spell it. I was like, well, I'll look it up. And I was like, but it'll help if I knew how to spell it.
Right.
But I didn't. So I saw the word. I Googled it. Google really did not help me that much. It
Okay.
gave me like a vague piece of information. So fast forward, I kind of left it alone and whatever. So fast forward, a mutual of mine introduced me to someone who we've become friends, and she had made the offer to me to give me Reiki. Basically, it was
Right.
something she was working on, and Reiki was part of it that she was
Hmm.
doing. Do I sound clear? Because I feel like I have feedback.
No, you're
No,
good.
okay, good. So she was giving me this, well, she was offering this for me. So set it up. La. Got it. Okay, so the day of, I'm like, so I don't know how this is gonna work because number one, she's in South Carolina and I'm in Georgia.
Wow.
So I'm
Okay.
like, I don't know what this is or what she's about to do. She said, just trust the process.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna trust the process. So she talked me through and started doing her thing, and it was amazing. Yeah, I was like, I've
Okay.
never experienced anything like this before. I felt so
Okay.
calm and at peace. And that was like
Right.
a really stressful time in my life. Um, and I was just calm and at peace. And then that night, I had got like some of the best sleep that I had ever gotten.
Oh wow.
And she had warned me, not warned me, but told me before, we parted ways. She was like, now tonight when you go to bed, you might want to put like a journal or some like pen and paper by your bed just in case, you might get some messages in your dream. She
Okay.
said your dreams won't be like a bad dream. She was
Mm-hmm.
like, but they might be kind of vivid. And I was like,
Okay.
oh, okay. I just kind of brushed it off like, yeah, whatever, lady.
Right.
I did have dreams. My dreams were extremely vivid, like HD color vivid.
Oh wow.
Couldn't remember them. So I wasn't getting any messages. It was basically my brain was doing a mind dump.
Mm-hmm.
Because all this clarity was happening with that energy work. So once I had that, I was so impressed that I was like, okay, well, I need to do more. I need to know more about this.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, started doing a lot of research on it, found my Reiki Master, my teacher, and got my certification. And bibbity bobbity boo, here I am as a Reiki Master myself.
Gotcha. Okay, so I have a question. So when you said your mind started doing a mind dump, like explain that to me, because I'm like, what, like, yeah, what was going on?
Well, you know how we have these like devices that like we're talking on right now, these
Right.
phones and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and we have all this information around us all the
Mm-hmm.
time. We're bombarded with like messages. And
Right.
then we're in this hustle culture. So everything is happening just like this.
Fast. Right.
Our
Right.
brains are just doing all kind of stuff that they're like, okay, can't really keep up with all this, but you just keep shoving it in there. That's fine. So,
Right.
so,
That's true. That's true.
so my mind, basically, it was like all these things. I mean, like I said, I don't even remember it, but it was kind of like whatever had been on my mind. Everything was just like it was a thought vomit, basically, just happening in my brain. And it made the dream like really like weird, like almost like psychedelic, but not.
Right. Right.
But it was just all this information like happening in my head and in my brain. And then when I woke up, my mind was just calm, clear. Like,
Okay. Okay. So it
yeah,
just so it sounds like it got rid of all the extra thoughts you had in your head. That they just so that's the mind dump, just getting rid of the extra sauce
yes,
that you don't need. All right. Gotcha. Gotcha.
absolutely.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. And so when you wake up, it's like you wake up like everything. Was it like a weight or a burden was lifted or something?
Yeah,
In
I
a
felt like
sense.
real clean. Like
Okay.
I couldn't describe it. Like, now that I actually give people Reiki, I kind of give words to it, which would be more of like a detox,
Okay.
and like I said, it just gave me so much clarity and peace for
Hmm.
for that moment in time. And I was like, okay, well, I got to be able to do this all the time
I
because
got you. Okay. So all right. So how like I've had a Reiki session one time or whatever. And, I guess with the crystal and I guess going over the chakras and that sort of thing. But how did she do it over the phone?
well, then that is what we call distance Reiki.
Okay.
So when you are a Reiki practitioner, at least at a level 2, so you have a level 1
Mm-hmm.
Reiki practitioner, level 2, and then you have level 3, which is master.
Okay.
So level 1, this is the one where, you're just getting introduced to Reiki. You're learning about, some of the foundational stuff regarding Reiki. You learn some hand positions and whatnot. And then when you move into level 2, this is where
Mm-hmm.
you'll start working in symbols and using these Japanese symbols.
Okay.
So when you're using these symbols, there's a particular symbol that you can use that will help you give Reiki at a distance. So like if you told me, like, Allison, you know, I want to book a distance session, even though you and I are in the same metro area,
Mm-hmm.
I could still send Reiki healing to you
Mm-hmm.
and you would feel that.
Oh wow.
It's kind of like, it's almost like quantum energy, if you think of it like that.
Right.
And if you want to put it in a way that, I always try to explain it this way when it comes to like my grandmother back in the day, when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to like prayer and everything, because she was a very much a praying woman.
Right.
Her prayers still cover me today,
Right.
but even though she's not here, they still
Right.
cover me. But um, she always used to say, "There's nowhere on this earth that God can't reach you."
True.
And so when you think about this universal life force energy and you put it in the context of the creator, God, Goddess, Allah, Oladamare, whatever name you give,
Right.
there's nowhere on this earth where that energy does not reach you. Because you got to remember, we're all energy.
Energy. Right. Right. Uh-huh.
And we come from a place and space that is also energy. The earth
Mm-hmm.
is energy. The earth also has atoms rotating in within it, just like we have atoms rotating within our bodies, right?
Right.
The earth, the moon, the sun, all, rotating in orbit, and there's all of this energy surrounding all of us.
Right.
So if I am channeling that energy, then I can send that energy over space and time to reach you,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not my energy that I'm sending. This is the energy of the universe, which is full of love and healing.
Right.
So that's how the best way I could possibly explain, if that makes sense. I didn't want to go too deep because like I can go real far off.
Okay. 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 I get it. I get it. So it's basically, or what, or how I am picturing this in my head is, you're sending that the love, the healing energy, like you can feel like the vibrations or whatever. You're sending
Yes.
those vibrations,
Hmm.
and you somewhat you can feel it far away. Like when you walk in a room and you can feel a bad vibe, that type of thing. It's like
Yes.
you're
Absolutely.
sending out the good vibe, the good energy. You're sending that out to that person, and they can feel it because you can feel. Yeah, I know you can feel energy. So basically, you're
Absolutely.
just sending out the good vibes to whoever that is you're speaking with or whatever,
Absolutely.
and
That
they're
is
able to. Okay,
exactly right.
all right, gotcha. All right, so um, I see that you started. What is it? The uh, Sacred Pathway Academy. All right, now what prompted you to start that? Like after you got into Reiki, like how did Sacred Pathway Academy come along?
Well, the Sacred Pathway Academy actually came before Reiki because
Okay,
I was a coach. I
okay,
am a coach.
okay.
Um, I knew I wanted to create a place where I could have the courses that I teach
Mm-hmm.
on spiritual empowerment. Um, and then I was thinking of like the work I do is sacred,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew I was on my own path. So I was like,
Right.
sacred pathway sounded pretty good.
Right.
And then for it to be I didn't want it to just be like my online blah blah blah. You know, for
Right.
me, I'm a Leo, so everything is theater for me. So Sacred Pathway Academy, you know, we had to make it,
Right.
you know, like that. So
Got you.
so that's how I got that. And I offer different programs there to
Hmm.
be either whether it's coaching or
Hmm.
Reiki certification, um, or even I have an introductory to Oracle card reading on there as well, because I also read Oracle cards.
Okay.
So
Now,
just different things that are reflections of what I came to bring. It goes into the Sacred Pathway Academy.
okay. Now what is oracle readings? What are those?
So I meant to bring a deck over here, but you know, you have tarot cards and you have
Hmm.
oracle cards.
Hmm.
Um, they're both used for divination.
Okay.
Tarot cards tend to scare people
Okay.
because there's this negative connotation with it, which I know where it comes from, but it's not negative. Okay.
Okay.
Everything can be used in a negative way if you really think about it. I mean,
True.
our ancestors were enslaved using the Holy Bible. So go figure.
Right.
So everything can be used for evil. So you've got tarot cards and you have oracle cards. Tarot cards are very set. So
Hmm.
they're like there's 78 cards. It always has 78. It'll
Hmm.
never have not have 78 cards. And
Okay.
what that is you have the major arcana and the minor arcana. And then within the minor, there are just kind of like playing cards, how you have uh, diamonds, hearts, clubs, spades. Well, in tarot, you have wands, swords, cups, and pentacles.
Okay.
Whereas in oracle cards, you don't have to know all that.
Right.
Oracle cards, you can have like as little as like 20 cards up to like 60 something cards in a deck. And it's just basically um, giving you guidance. You know,
Okay.
you shuffle the cards and you look for the message and see what the message tells you.
Okay.
Um, I almost want to get up and go get a card deck, but I don't feel like getting up and going over there.
Gotcha.
Because the way I got my whole thing set up, it was just everything just like all fall down, and I don't want to do that.
Right.
But yeah, so you have your cards. They have pictures on them. They have words on them, and that's basically the gist of it. You just pull
Okay.
it and it gives you a
So
message.
so with the oracle cards, are you asking, I guess, a question before you, I guess, shuffle or whatever? Is that how
Yes.
you get the divination or the message? Okay.
Right,
Okay.
right. So
Okay.
you
Okay.
can
Okay.
ask. So with oracle cards, you can't
Hmm.
ask yes or no questions. They have to
Okay.
be something like you can't say, "Will I get the job?" You have to ask something like, "What do I need to know about applying for this job?" Or "What do I need to know to prepare myself to be ready for this job or for this job interview, or what do I need to know about today that I need to
Right.
concentrate on,
Gotcha.
um what energies do I need to focus on, or what message the spirit have for me. That's the
Okay.
simplest one. What message? And you just leave it out there for spirit to just give you whatever message spirit needs to give you, and so
Okay.
that's what you do.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, I do research or whatever, so I see that the spiritual academy is, I guess, for now. Is it strictly for men? Is it for women? What? Who? What? I guess what's your audience? Who are we targeting?
So
With
my
the.
target audience
Mhm.
are women who are
Okay.
40 and over.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
does that
Okay.
mean that everybody who has gone through the Sacred Pathway Academy fits that description? No. I've had,
Gotcha.
like, as far as Reiki is concerned,
Mm-hmm.
And teaching Reiki. I'm open to teach men and women. I've had at least one guy go through Sacred Pathway Academy for his Reiki certification.
Okay.
And he was like, you know what? He said, I just like what you offer. I like the way you talk, and I feel comfortable with you. So I want to get my certification through you. I was like, okay.
Right. Gotcha.
I'm the person that I believe in alignment. So if
Mm-hmm.
someone is aligned with my messaging, I don't care, as long as you understand my main audience are women.
Right.
But if you are a man and you come to me and say, because I have this young man, I kind of call him like my spiritual son because
Right.
he comes to me for like counsel or, energy readings, things like that.
Right.
So I do have guys. I really want to work with more men. I really, really do.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to um, giving Reiki, because there's so many men that are just not open to it.
Right.
And
Now, would you say it just men, or I don't want to break it down, I guess, to a color thing, but black people in general? Because, oh,
well, the only people that I've ever, okay, so I'll give you an example.
okay.
So one day on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
I made an offer to every one of my Facebook friends. I didn't make it public because I didn't want no weirdos coming up in my comments.
Right.
Because if you say too much, the weird people come, and it's like, I don't have time to cuss nobody out right now.
Right.
Be blocked and blessed, and I'm moving on.
Blocked and blessed. I'm at to steal that one right.
So, um, so for my Facebook friends, I put it out there. I said, okay, I am offering a free Reiki session for
Right.
any black man on my page that wants Reiki. Any
Mm-hmm.
black man.
Uh-huh.
Now, my friends on Facebook are at least 45% male.
Right.
And of those 45% male, at least 90% of that 40% are black.
Right.
So I'm just trying to paint you a picture here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know I only had one take me up on that offer? Just one.
Wow. Okay.
And I was like, I know y'all see me. Like I'm very easy to see. I'm very
Right.
bright and shiny.
Right.
And I made sure I used like a colorful picture to like grab their attention.
Right.
But again, it was only one that said yes.
Okay.
And that's not to let black women off the hook. It's not, because a lot of the black women that are on my Facebook page
Mm-hmm.
are still in the church. So they feel like
Mm-hmm.
everything is demonic. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, no,
Right.
Reiki has nothing to do with any kind of religion at all.
Right. Right.
We have in Reiki, you have Christian Reiki
Mm-hmm.
practitioners, Jewish Reiki practitioners, you have Muslim Reiki practitioners, Hindu Reiki practitioners, spiritualists that are Reiki practitioners, because it knows no religion. It has nothing to do with that.
Right.
My
So,
prayer is
mhm.
for more black people to become more open to this work, because we need it bad.
Okay. So what I'm getting out of this, it sounds like Reiki, like I go to therapy, right? So I go to therapy, and I guess what I'm learning in therapy is that it's about releasing the traumas and all the the experiences that we've had, growing up and experienced throughout our lifetimes. And to me, Reiki sounds like it's sort of kind of like therapy, releasing the trauma and releasing. Because when you said like you had a detox, it's like releasing all the heaviness, the weights that's on your shoulders, but it's just a different way of doing it.
Yes.
So there's so I guess what I'm getting out of this, there's more than one way to release trauma or release whatever's weighing you down. It's sort of
Right.
kind of like whatever. Some people go to therapy, some people go to Reiki, some people might do something else, but whatever works for you, as long as you release what's holding you down. That's
Right.
got okay, okay,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
But I will say this.
Hmm.
I love when I have clients that come to me who are in therapy,
Okay,
because that way the work that I'm doing can
right.
work in conjunction with the work that they're already getting from therapy. And
Okay.
then together between me and their therapist, it will help you have a more, I think, productive release. Because
Hmm.
here's the thing. One of the things about me is if you come to me for Reiki, I'm not going to just give you Reiki, pat you on the head, and send you on your way.
Right.
You're going to have homework.
Right.
I'm going to follow up with you
Hmm.
because you're right. We all have so many things that we need to release from childhood. You know, the well-meaning people who raised us, or the not so well-meaning, depending on your upbringing,
Right.
your environment that you grew up in, and then a lot of the social norms um, that we grew up in as well, where
Hmm.
you know we weren't allowed to do or feel certain things or express ourselves, or you know, because like I can remember as a child being in school and a teacher just tells me that I talk too much,
Right.
and you know, for some people it's like, well, that's no big deal, but for me as a little girl, it was like she took my voice
Right.
of me expressing myself. And it wasn't that I was just totally disrupting class. I actually had something to say, you know.
Right.
Um, so it's a lot of things that we're overcoming. And I think what's important is, you know, Reiki is not a one and done, hallelujah, I'm healed thing. It's not.
Right. Hallelujah, I'm healed. Okay, I
Right.
got you.
It's not. You
Right.
you need to come back, you know.
Right.
So you can come to me for a session, but
Hmm.
I'm going to recommend more because I want to see you at your best. I
Right.
want you to be able to really stand in who you were created to be.
Hmm.
So when I'm giving someone Reiki, I'm going to take the time. Number one, when you come to me, you're going to fill out an intake form because I need to know, why are you coming here? What do you need from me?
Right.
So on the intake form, I'm going to ask you, do you have chronic pain? If you're a woman, are you pregnant? Have you
Hmm.
been pregnant like in the last like year or so? You know, because she might have some postpartum stuff that needs to be released, you know?
Right.
Um, I'll ask, you know, what age range you're in. Have you recently had surgery? You know, things like that, because Reiki is not just about the mental and emotional, can also help you with physical too.
Okay.
Physical pain, physical trauma, physical whatever. Like, you
Now, how
know,
does that work? Because now you got my brain working. Like, how does it help with the physical part?
so think of it like this. So when you're going through, and since you know about chakras, everybody might not. Chakras are those energy centers that go through your body, and they're just little wheels. Chakra is Sanskrit for wheels.
Okay.
So most people talk about the seven, even though we have several more chakras in our bodies. But
Right.
we'll just stick with the seven, which are the crown, third
Hmm.
eye, the throat, the heart, and then you go below here, you have the solar, which is the navel chakra, the
Hmm.
sacral chakra, which is in like your pelvic area, and then
Mm-hmm.
your root chakra, which is right at your tailbone in your pubic area.
Okay.
So with all those energy centers, they are all I guess like they reign over certain parts of your body. So like
Okay.
the heart chakra, of course, is your heart, but also like your lungs. Your throat chakra is like your thyroid, your neck, your shoulders, things like that.
Right.
So when I'm going through and I'm giving someone Reiki and I'm putting this, channeling this energy and I'm moving energy around in your body to kind of get moving so that these wheels will turn and get out all the gunk that you're carrying around.
Right.
How I like to explain it is all your physical ailments start in the metaphysical first.
Hmm.
It's just that in the metaphysical, it's been not addressed, so then it shows up in physical form.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've been carrying a lot of like trauma, a lot of pain, a lot of anguish, whatever the case may be, it's going to show up in a physical sense in your body, from lower back pain, knee pain, your feet might hurt. You may have digestive problems. That can also
Okay.
be, part of it. But going back to your question about the energy, when you're putting, when you're doing Reiki, the concentration is sending that energy, that love, that
Mm-hmm.
light to
Mm-hmm.
that part of your body. So if you come to me and say, I've been having problems with my knees, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to go to your knees first.
Okay.
And we're going to spend some time on your knees because that's what you said is bothering you.
Right.
But I'm still going to get the rest of your body, because just because your knees are hurting, that could be something else energetically happening in your body, just manifested in your knees.
Right.
So
Okay then. Okay then.
hope
So
that wasn't confusing because I felt
no,
like I just went around there.
right. But I mean, I get it. I get it. Hopefully, the audience will understand as well. But I get what you're saying. Now, I see that you off. I guess. So with the coaching, so what's the difference between the different levels of coaching, like the one, the first, the second, and the third levels, as far as like what you learn and what you experience in certifications or whatever.
So with Reiki certification, that is like separate with from my coaching.
Okay. Hmm.
Although I'm teaching, coaching is essentially teaching anyway.
Right.
So the coaching is more of me trying to get to the bottom of, okay, so like I have a program called Get Shit Done.
Right. Okay.
So why are you having a problem with getting shit done?
Right.
What's the energetic block? Let's get to the
Right.
bottom of that. Are you procrastinating because there's a fear there, which usually it is, but what's at the root of that fear? What is it that you're really afraid of? Is it that you're truly afraid of failure, or is it you're more afraid of success?
Mm.
So let's get to the root of that, and let's go and let's do some Reiki treatments. Let's do some give you some homework assignments of like journaling, writing things out.
Hmm.
We'll make like a goal for the overall program. So
Hmm.
with that one, let me back up. So with that particular program, you come in, I give you a reading, and we set a 90-day plan for you.
Okay.
And we create a 90-day plan of what it is that you want to accomplish in that 90-day span. And so
Okay.
with every coaching session you have with me, we're going through and I'm making sure you reach that goal.
Okay.
And we're getting past all the procrastination, the um usually procrastination is the biggest thing.
Okay.
Or the
That's a
time
major
management.
problem of mine. of, yeah.
Or if it's the time management, let's
Hmm.
figure out how to do your time better.
Right.
Let's pick a schedule, create something for you that is more realistic to you. And
Hmm.
then again, I'm going to also give you Reiki because I also want to clear your energy centers to make sure that when you're working on these things, when we're not one-on-one, that you're
Mm-hmm.
able to get them done. So it's just kind of melding those things together. Now, if you're coming to me for Reiki certification,
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to start with level one. Like I said, level one, that's your foundational stuff.
Okay.
That's teaching you, where did Reiki come from? You know, um, talk about our lineages and um, the different principles of Reiki, because we have 5 principles of Reiki.
Okay.
Then once you get through its level one, you go to level two. Then
Okay.
level two is a little more advanced. That's when you start learning symbols. Now, in my personal opinion, when you're at level one, you have no reason to be doing Reiki on nobody but you, because level
Okay.
one is about you. It's
Right.
about your relationship. It's about you getting the gist and the experience of the
Mm-hmm.
foundational stuff. Now, when you get
Okay.
to level two, that's when you branch out and you're able to start giving Reiki to other people,
Okay.
because you'll start learning more of the symbols and technique and things like that. And then when you come to the master level, which is where I am, you
Mm-hmm.
add to what you learned in level two, but you're also at a position now, if you wanted to start to teach or mentor, you can do that. You can't teach at level two or level one. You can only do it when you're a Reiki master.
Okay. Now for each level, like I guess how long is the process? Like in college, you got to have so many hours before you go, coming from a freshman to a sophomore or whatever. So is it basically the same with Reiki as far as like the experience level and certifications?
Now, it's going to depend on the Reiki master that's teaching you.
Oh, okay.
So some Reiki masters will not allow you to become a master until you've done level one and two for at least a year.
Okay.
Now, me, I'm more of 6 months. So if
Okay.
I've taught you, because I teach one and two together,
Mhm.
um, not everybody does that. Some people break them up.
Right.
Some people teach all three at the same time. I used to teach all three at the same time, but I think it's more effective to do the way I'm doing it now.
Okay.
So if you do one and two together, I want you to at least been certified at level two for at least 6 months before you even think about doing master level,
Okay.
because you need to build that muscle of confidence, understanding of your skills, and everything else. And it actually would be better if you did wait for a year, because what I find is a lot of people, when they become certified, they don't immediately start putting stuff into practice. They kind of have this like failure to launch type thing.
Right.
And I think it's more of because, well, I don't want, my family to think that I'm crazy, or, people to judge me or
Right.
not understand what I'm doing, um, and things like that. So, what I try to do when I'm certifying people is to let them know, hey, you're going to have people that are going to say, that's not real, or that's demonic, or they're going to have whatever their thoughts are, but that's their thoughts. You know
Right.
what your calling is, because Reiki is a calling. I
Right.
don't think everybody should be certified as a Reiki practitioner, because
Okay.
this is something that is sacred to do. It's sacred work. Is a labor of love. It
Mhm.
really is. You have to love people and love what you're doing in order for you to really maximize this work and get the most out of it. I'm very fulfilled in doing this work. If I could just sit and just do it just like all day long, I
Mhm.
would. If
Okay.
people would book with me and I'd be busy all day long, I would go to bed so happy and satisfied because
Right.
I love what I do and I'm very passionate about it and I'm very protective of it as well.
Okay. Now I got a question for you. Now you use the word calling. So how and you hear that word calling in various professions or whatever. So how do you know that you've been, I guess, called? What is your experience to know that this is your calling or whatever?
Well, we have a saying, a lot of us as Reiki practitioners, is Reiki found me,
Right.
you know, because since most of us, when we first hear of Reiki, we've never heard of it. So it's like, what's that? And
Right.
that was my experience, like I talked about. So
Hmm.
Reiki found me. And once I started experiencing it, learning about it, it's like it got in my system and I couldn't get it out.
Oh wow.
It
Okay.
it was
Gotcha.
like I've got to do this. It wasn't like I just want to learn it just for the hell of it type deal. No, it
Right.
it was it was more than that. It was like I have to learn this. I really feel drawn to it. And um more of whether it's your calling depending on like once you get into it, it's all you think about.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
that's how you
Okay.
know.
Right.
You know, I tell my clients all the time, it's like this, all of this work, not just the Reiki part of it, but all of it, this is such sacred work for me and sacred
Hmm.
medicine for me. I'm
Okay.
doing a work where not only am I the facilitator of someone else's healing, but as I'm doing their healing, I get healing myself.
Okay. All right. So how do
And
you get healing? If you could
because
explain that feeling.
when when I am when I am talking, when I am teaching, when I am coaching,
Hmm.
and those words come through, some of it is stuff that I need to hear.
Right.
It's like it's so funny how I'll get clients who are
Hmm.
so like me and how I was when I first got started. And I see
Okay.
that. And it's like that shows a part of me as I am helping them overcome things. It's a reminder to me, you overcame that as well. And it's kind
Right.
of like, I don't have to dwell on that. I don't have to think about that no more because that's not me anymore. I see
Right.
myself within them.
Right.
And when you're channeling Reiki and giving someone a healing, I mean, that energy is there. So it's already going through my body to go into
Right.
your body. So why would it not be doing something for me as it's doing something for you?
Right.
So that's a part that I don't know if I can really explain that, but that's just how it is.
I mean,
It's
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. It's sort of if I could, I guess the words this coming to me is sort of kind of like fulfillment, the fulfillment piece or
yes,
whatever. Because you're seeing the change in that particular person, and you're noticing, I guess, the light bulb go off and that type of
yes,
thing, and you're like, I did the same thing. I experienced the same feelings, yada yada. I know what you're going through, and it's just I guess you become excited because you know you're actually helping this particular person
yes,
grow and develop in a sense.
facts.
Gotcha.
That's right.
Okay, okay, okay. So, so you do the energy readings. What was it? The solar readings or whatever. What do you have any other type of readings and offerings available? Uh,
So I have oracle card readings. I have
hmm.
Reiki that I offer.
Hmm.
I offer coaching. The different modalities that I do are like I use aromatherapy. I do use crystals
Hmm.
sometimes in my Reiki sessions, depending on if I feel led to do it.
Hmm.
like I said, Reiki itself is not spiritual, but spiritual people tend to be the ones doing Reiki,
Right.
being Reiki practitioners. And one of the parts of me being a healer is I am intuitive. I'm an
Hmm.
intuitive person. Always been intuitive, but once I became a Reiki practitioner, it just whoop heightened it.
Right. Right.
So it's like it's on 10. I go into a room and I'm like, oh Lord, somebody is really going through it right now. And I gotta learn, I've had to learn how to turn that off
Wow.
because it can be a lot. Um, but I do aromatherapy through like essential oils. I also sell those essential oils through doTERRA. So yes,
Okay.
I do an MLM, but it's, I love it because essential oils, that's a whole other like beast in conversation that we could probably talk about another time. Because it does great work. So I do that, oracle card readings, I work with crystals, Reiki, coaching, um, just all those different things that I like
Okay.
to incorporate in my spiritual work. But I think the point that I was trying to get to, you have to excuse me. I'm going through menopause right now, so my brain is like crazy.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
It goes
Gotcha.
everywhere.
Right.
Um, so what I do with my Reiki practice, and when I'm giving someone Reiki, I include the ancestors.
Hmm.
And so when I'm giving someone Reiki, I'm giving them Reiki, but I'm also allowing for if that person's ancestors has messages for them,
Hmm.
for me to be able to give it.
Okay.
So, um, like I had one particular client, she had been having a really hard time with her mother,
Hmm.
and she was just like, I just want some family around me, but a lot of my family is deceased.
Hmm.
And so when I gave her Reiki, and it was at a distance, she's not in California, but she's somewhere west.
Right.
Um, when I gave her Reiki, it was just such a beautiful thing because her ancestors showed up. Like, I was like, whoa. I gave the invitation and they were like, ooh, yes, let's get in here. Somebody is finally talking to us. And I'm
Right.
like, okay. So I gave her Reiki session and I'm starting to see things and feel things. So when her session was done, I started telling her stuff I was experiencing. I said, I said, I don't know what it was, but it was kind of like they were giving you gifts, like they were putting
Right.
things at your feet. I said, there's gifts, there's some things they have for you. I said, and when I was looking at you, I was not looking at you. I said, you had all these gold adornments on you. It was like a
Right.
visual. It was very intricate and very specific. And I gave her all these messages and stuff from her ancestors. And she just broke down and started crying because she was like, wow, I was really like visualizing and seeing stuff like that as you were giving me Reiki.
Oh wow.
She was like, I saw, like, she said, I couldn't see their faces. She said, but it was like people and they were just like putting things in my hand and laying things around me as I'm sitting there. And I'm
Hmm.
like, yeah. I was like, so these are gifts that they're giving you to let you know they're here. They love you. They have things for you. They want to give you guidance, but you got to let them in. You got to ask them, for what it is that you want. And then one in particular came to my mind. I was like, so what about, I said, there's like a man,
Hmm.
and I said, and he's older, and he kept popping in my head. But I couldn't see his face, but I just felt like this older man energy.
Right.
She was talking about her grandfather.
Hmm.
And so I told her, I was like, well, here's what you need to do. because you need to talk to him because he wants to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have an altar, create one. And then I said, what is it was something that he liked to do that maybe you like to do too? She said, well, he was a coffee drinker. He loved to have coffee in the morning. I was like, okay, well, pour yourself a cup and pour him one, and y'all sit down and have coffee. I said, and I want you to do that as often as you feel led to do it. So from here on out, she sits down in the morning when she has her coffee. She puts her coffee on the altar. She has her cup of coffee with her grandfather.
Oh,
And it
wow.
makes her feel closer to him. And she's been getting a lot of messages from him ever since.
Okay. So I see that you're helping people a lot out here and changing lives invariably. So it's the how do you the fulfillment that you're getting? How does that compare to anything else?
There's nothing like it. Nothing like
Okay.
it. Like, one thing about me, I've always known that working a 9 to 5 job was never going to be fulfilling for me. I didn't
Right.
care what it was.
Right.
It just was not. I'm one of these people where I would say, and I got this from a friend of mine, I am certifiably unemployable because I just don't care about somebody else's stuff.
Right.
I just don't. But with
Right.
this work,
Mm-hmm.
when I've done something, whether it's coaching, Reiki, or all of it in one day, I go to bed and I just feel so good. I
And I guess
feel
it's the
good.
feeling we're all looking for to end the day knowing that we have done something, to make us
Yes,
feel complete, and then also to change somebody else's life, hopefully. So
facts.
yeah, I get it. I
Yes,
get it.
that's what we
All right.
do.
Well, Allison, Reiki Master Allison, thank you for joining us on the first episode of the second season of I Feel You the podcast. And if you could, before we end the episode, if you could go ahead and give out your socials and things of that nature. And I'm also going to include that in the description box as well when this episode is published. But yeah, if you could just go ahead and give us that information.
Sure.
Okay.
So you can basically find me on Instagram as Reiki Master Allison. You can also find me on TikTok as Reiki Master Allison. Um, TikTok is starting to become my preferred place of social
Okay.
media. You can also go to my YouTube channel, which is Sacred Pathway Academy. You'll see I do a Sacred Sunday every Sunday, and this is where I do motivation, um, do readings, and things like that you can look at.
Okay.
And other like interviews from my podcast are there too.
Okay.
But yeah, that's where you can find me.
All right. So you said podcast. So where's your podcast? Like what
So
services
Sacred
provided?
Pathway
Mm-hmm.
Academy podcast is on YouTube. It's
Mm-hmm.
on Apple. It's on Spotify,
Okay.
SoundCloud, Amazon, Audible.
So you're everywhere basically.
They everywhere.
Gotcha. All right. All right. Well, Allison, thank you for joining us on like I said, the first episode of the second season. I certainly appreciate you, and thank you for enlightening the audience. If they've heard of Reiki, don't know what it is. Hopefully, after this episode, they will know more about it and want to experience it for themselves. Like I said, I have had the experience myself, and I ask everyone to come out and at least try it. Open up your mind and at least try it,
Yeah.
and get some healing because we all need some healing, especially today. So,
Yes, we do.
well, thank you very much and for joining us, and I hope you have a great one.
You too.
All right, thank you.
Bye.